Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another reaction. Today we have another nostalgia-filled piece from Black Gold and my executive producers. This is Dungeon Keeper's The Horned Reaper. I don't know anything about Dungeon Keeper. I think it looks vaguely familiar just based on the art. I feel like I've seen it around. I'm not quite that old, and apparently neither was Black Gold when they played this. They said they were far too young, but it kind of struck a heavy metal root into their system, and that's just kind of where they've been for the rest of their life. So this game may or may not have a bad influence on you if you are under the age of, let's say, 16, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to hear what it has in store, and without further ado, let's go! Okay. Always good to have the choir from hell. Demonic Gregorian vibe. Okay, I'm hearing it. Also, I love that dissonance in there. Just nonsense. Okay. All right. We got some riffs. Simple. Effective. Good opportunity to become metal as fuck. Crank the tremolo high. Ooh! That was a filthy screech. Ooh. Okay. Oh, okay. That's what we're doing. It's like it carries you through. Again, it's simple, but it's got that bass line of hell yeah, that's metal, you know? Wouldn't be anything else. The little details like that. I love that. That's so fucking sick. Oh, okay, we're going back. I'm assuming this is just mostly a loop. But it's still, yeah, I can see exactly why that would have a very specific effect on somebody who's a little too young, and like that's your first experience. It would definitely set some roots for sure. All right, so the music theory discussion on this is going to be very simple. It's F, D, and G. That's literally it. That's all you got, really. That's all the chords that are happening here. I'm assuming they're just standard power chords. That would make the most sense for something as simple as this, but also just as earwormy as this. It's a very simple progression to have these, but that sort of like dissonance that all three of these hit, and maybe a C in there if it goes, before it goes back in, you know, maybe jumps up to the C sharp there. Something like that, I would totally understand. I can't quite remember if that did happen, but it would totally be the thing to do to like loop that back down. It just, you know, makes sense. But that's basically it, right? This song is that simple. There's, of course, the chords being sung by the choir, but those are so dissonant, especially by the time all those, like, random, literal just it just turns into nonsense. There's not really much going on that you can make sense of in that context, and that's fine. It doesn't really lend much to a music theory discussion. But this sort of a relationship is one of the most simple relationships in all of metal, and is the bare bones basics of what every metal song is. Power chords in those three, or really any power chord of any sort, just hitting one note on a guitar. Just picking up a guitar, putting your finger on the top string or the sixth string if you want to be all picky about it, and just hitting that. Whatever note that is, work on thirds and fifths. That's like most metal, right? That is the core of it, and that's kind of what's happening here. This is the fourth, this is the third. So work off that, you got most things. I said fifths there, but the same thing kind of happens in it. You get a full chord by doing 1, 3, and 5, so you see why that kind of sticks in my brain as the thing to do, but that fourth is what kind of causes that dissonance that really sinks in when you have all three of these together. If you have all four of those, it's just kind of a crunchy mess, so that's why music theory is so important. And that's music, baby. But you know, the song just riding on that that's a tried and true sort of pattern. And it's never gonna go out of style, and that's why this song sounds like every metal song ever, and why it lends itself so well to just kind of being ambiguously there in the metal scene. I was feeling like the song was going to break into something a little bit more shreddy, but it never did. So it kind of just stayed with that rhythm section and kept things rocking, and that again is like the point of metal. That's what makes it what it is. And I can see totally why this would have that effect on Black Gold as a kid, because you would hear that and go, man, there is like the raw DNA of the genre. I want to hear more of that. And they would hear this song in basically everything else written by every other metal band ever. It's always there. This sort of basic progression is the root rhythm section of at least one song of every metal band you could ever think of. It's there for everybody. You look at a Slipknot song, you look at a fucking System of a Down song, it'll be in there. All That Remains, it's in there. Polyphia even. It's everywhere. And no matter what you do or where you go, you are going to get this. So having that raw DNA of just a few chords doing its thing is going to settle in your mind. And even songs like Tenacious D's The Metal has like this kind of concept, not the same notes, but like the general idea of what metal is, rooted down to its more simplistic form. Obviously, The Metal is a much more complex song, but it runs the same gambit of starting at the same place, and therefore having the same DNA and keeping things just simple enough that you can do kind of whatever you want over it and have fun. If you were to flesh this song out, you could have a fucking ripper of a track, and it would be awesome as hell. And that's just why these songs work. So I, again, definitely understand why Black Gold had this sort of a relationship with this song. The fact that they heard this and was just like, oh, like a light bulb went off, and it's like, there we are. I have this identity now. This root has been planted, and now it's going to become my personality in a few years when I get a little bit more edgy, and I'm going to be listening to everything that my parents told me I'm not going to or should not listen to, and then you become who you are as an adult. Most of us have those phases. A lot of us grow out of them, but also a lot of us stick with this sort of sound because you realize that it's not about the edge that makes metal what metal is. It's about the camaraderie that comes with the community of it. And I'm still a metalhead to this day. I'm not nearly as severe as a lot of people in that scene. I don't go to metal shows constantly, but I adore the genre just as much as I would go to a symphonic orchestra. I would go to a heavy, dark death metal concert if I was given the opportunity. I love music. And much like the experience that Black Gold had with this one, I've had with other groups, other bands. I think the first one that really hit me on that end was probably Disturbed. I heard their version of Land of Confusion when I was like 11 or 12, somewhere in that window, and then I just started checking out more, and I started to love more, and I got so much deeper into the rabbit hole. So this makes sense. I get it, and I think it's a really decent song for as simple as it is. It hits all of the like special markers, just like the soundtrack for Doom did. The original Doom kind of did a similar thing with how it was written, and probably around the same era as well, so it all just kind of fits in the soundscape. But then, as we all know from like Doom 2016, that that shit, the soundtrack, Mick Gordon went ham on that because he had an amazing bass line to run with. And it's like, you get songs like this that are just the start of something that could be so much greater. Like if this were to get a complete remake or something, this would be a similar story. Having something that's just the fucking bowl. It's an empty bowl and you can fill it with whatever you want. Do it, you know? Again, fantastic song. Simple as it may be, it's deceptively so. There's so much you can do with this if you were to flesh it out, and that's what makes it such a good first experience. But I'm done yapping now, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else from Dungeon Keeper or anything else, drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if like Black Gold did, you want to guarantee that I listen to something, you can always go to my Patreon or my YouTube memberships, or you can force me to listen to something. It doesn't matter what it's from, who it's by, if it's good or bad, none of that matters. That's why it's a guarantee. But if you don't want to do any of that, you just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!